Today on the Topping Show, Trump proposes repealing the federal income tax and replacing it with tariffs. Biden gets lost at a G7 summit. Elon's pay package is approved by shareholders. California fast food minimum wage increase destroys demand as well as jobs. Employee at a company for 20 years is fired for a straight pride post. NASA pride their flag post as well, mostly ratioed. Trump campaign video is a compilation of Biden speaking blunders going viral. Saudi Arabia Petrodollar agreement expires as detrimental for the US dollar. Ford decreases EV investment requirements for dealerships while Volkswagen pivots away billions from EV developments to ICE engine developments. Sony buys Alamo Drafthouse movie theaters, and mushroom chocolate gummies get CDC warning for causing illnesses. All of that and much, much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. I see he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part podcast, you have Elon's pay package is approved by the shareholders, a win for contracts and integrity, though still a loss for the great, well, actually no, the terrible state of Delaware. Now, this comes as a big point of controversy where many years ago, Elon and the shareholders, as well as the board of directors, they all came to agreement. They said, Elon, if you hit these pie-in-the-sky astronomical high metrics for the company, we will reward you with an appropriate compensation package. So again, if you hit these crazy high metrics that no one thought was possible, we would pay you this seemingly astonishingly high amount of money. And they all signed off on it. All parties agreed. And Elon moved heaven and earth. He made it happen, doing what everyone thought would be the impossible. So he was supposed to get a pay package, which again would be equivalent to about $56 billion. And of course, during that time period, he actually took a $0 salary. He risked everything, and appropriately, he won everything. Now, a couple of the shareholders, well, they wanted to go back on their deal. So they actually decided to try to sue Elon and the company, saying, well, we don't think it's fair, even though we benefited from him and his hard work. So I would say a political hack, but a judge in Delaware said, you know what, we're going to repeal this. So Elon, you don't get paid. You basically got to work for free. Which caused businesses to leave the state of Delaware in droves, which historically had been one of the best places for businesses. That's why so many companies that are, even tech companies, are headquartered in California. They're incorporated and they have their, legal entities in the state of Delaware. This is what's very common business practice. After that situation happened, Elon decided to subsequently move the legal incorporation of SpaceX, and then subsequently, I believe he's working on the same for Twitter, and then Tesla soon followed to be reincorporated in the great state, or some might argue, the great country of Texas. Now, Elon also posted this on X Twitter, of course, which Elon said, quote, both Tesla shareholder resolutions are currently passed by a wide margin. Thank you for your support. Name My Pretty Video got 41.1 million views and 125,000 likes. Now, here we can pull up the chart, and it says cumulative Elon compensation for votes. So, rudimentarily spoken, how many people of the shareholders said yes, he should be paid for the contract that, again, they all agreed to. And you can see at the very end of the graph, you see a huge spike where people say are the yay votes. Then, of course, it did pass the threshold where it is going to be 100% is confirmed now. Then, of course, you did have some people that thought, maybe we should have him work for free. Now, granted, the optics aren't good because this is a very tough time for the EV industry across all boards. And people are trying to critique Elon for saying, oh, yeah, you just laid people off. Well, your stock is down, like, what was it? Double-digit percentage past 6 months? That being said, other EV rivals, including Rivian and Lucid, they're all down. The EV in general is slowing down. The optics are not good. That being said, I believe in contracts and, doing what's right. So me and many business owners were very happy to hear that, yeah, he was paid appropriately. Though there's still communists, people who wanted him to work for free who thought, no, he should work for free. But let's go in the comments to see what are the top people coming out. Wow, zero likes, but 9 people viewed my comment. Now, granted, I'm a little bit happy, or granted, I'm a little bit biased. So yeah, I'm going to read my own comment. I simply say, congrats. The fact the government tried to steal from you by breaking a contract you fulfilled is concerning to say the least. And I don't know what you call that. It's a gif of like an old black and white video with the gentleman drinking coffee says, tastes like victory. No one liked it, but 9 people did allegedly view it. Granted, I think that's the best comment ever. Nevertheless, you do have Paul Zupa saying, you've earned it, Elon. Simple as that. Getting 106 likes. Arthur Eagleman says you deserve it, getting 210 likes. Valentina Gomez says you deserve every penny, Elon. Now we need an X phone and for sale, $420.69. That got 3.8 thousand likes, which, of course, that'd be a good meme in terms of price point and good, I say, effective marketing. Everyone would know it. Now, at that price point, I don't think you actually make a profit, or it'd be a huge loss, I think, for most cell phone technologies. Nevertheless, going down more and more, you have Tesla Economics saying, let's go Elon, and someone used some type of software to put Elon's face into a giant allegedly roided up wrestler's body and just screaming. They got 1.5 thousand likes. Stock Talk says this vote was a no-brainer from the beginning. This isn't about paying Elon, it's about the defending basic capitalist principles. Shareholders and BOD should get to decide what happens with companies, not politically motivated judges. A deal is a deal, and it was inked in 2018. I got 2.9 thousand likes. Alexander Murs says yes, getting 3,000 likes. Let's see. Eli Burton says, I think Tesla Boomer Mama's mobilization and campaign efforts is a major reason why this passed. And I got 1.9 thousand likes. See, Travis says, hopefully no 3 a.m. shenanigans happens. The vote isn't taking place in Fulton County, Georgia, is it? I got 1.3 thousand likes. Lindy Iaccarino, who, again, that's the CEO of X, she said, as it should be, that got 6.2 thousand likes. Which, I mean, that makes sense. You probably want your boss to be paid for his work. And again, this is on Elon's post. Let's see here. There we go. Harrison Crank said, I voted my 20 shares for you, sir. Godspeed. It's the very popular farmer that went viral years ago. And it's a farmer standing outside. He says, it ain't much, but it's not its worth. It got 255 likes. So again, not a lot of contrarian statements on X Twitter. And again, this is his post. Although, you'd think there'd be people who want to ratio him or something like that. I mean, on LinkedIn, anecdotally speaking, granted it's a smaller sample size by far, but I did ask folks on LinkedIn, do you think he should have his contract fulfilled? And granted, again, most of my connections on LinkedIn are usually within Texas. And of the 198 people who did vote in my poll asking, should he be paid for fulfilling his contract, 89% of people did say yes. Well, I think the remaining said no, and then some said, no, just no. They said comment. They just acquiesced from voting altogether. So it's good to know there are still some capitalists out there who believe that people should be paid for the contracts and actually for fulfilling the demands. But let them know. Again, there are some people who are irate. They're very upset. They're saying, you should be thinking about the... I went back and forth on some rudimentary employee on LinkedIn, not my employee, obviously, but some person on LinkedIn where they kept saying, oh, yeah, but you have to think about, what's the overall impact of the company? How this, it's not really fair. I'm like, man, not to be a smart aleck, but I was a little bit. I said, well, if you, your boss, and human resources all came together, said, hey, you should be paid this amount. You will get paid this amount. If you hit these metrics, you should get paid. Which this person acquiesced and didn't respond to me. But yeah, can't help but think, I tried to boil it down to a rudimentary analysis or scenario for people to understand. But let me know in the comments. Are you surprised that the vote went this way? And do you think this will cause a further exodus of businesses to leave what used to be I don't know if it's that really great, good for business state of Delaware? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Ford decreasing EV requirements for dealerships, which is good news for them. Dealerships are one of the biggest industries that most people have a disdain for because they're kind of cliche, almost a couple dictionary thick books of bad stories you can get from that industry. And one of the biggest issues with why these dealerships don't want to go EV is, one, there's much less profit on average, and two, it's a lot harder to sell them. Like, you talk to most dealers, and a lot of the analytics are showing, on average, again, a person can go to the dealership and they'll go to the dealership one time to buy an internal combustion engine car. Well, when it comes to the EVs, they'll go to the dealership 3 to 4 times. So it's quite literally 3 to 4 times the effort from the sales rep and the dealership to sell that vehicle, which, again, with the exceptions of the weird things like the Hummer, they're going to lose money on. And they're also going to make less money on because a lot of the dealerships make money through service and maintenance of the vehicles, which until the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 battery goes kaput on the vehicle, well, there's much less things on average to fix, at least from a dealership perspective. There's probably just like a Windows update. You'll have those things being updated every 14 days, something like that, with software fixes. But in terms of mechanical fixes, there are less. Now, they're not maintenance free, as some people simplistically try to put. The tires actually wear down quicker because the vehicles weigh so much, but another topic for another time perhaps. Well, a lot of these dealerships, they have to have a huge upfront investment. So it's not just paying to train employees, but they also have to buy these new tools or diagnostic materials. Then they have to have new safety equipment for when they do install those ridiculously expensive heavy batteries. So a lot of dealerships are being opted out, and some are actually complaining that they're being coerced out because they have some of these manufacturers demanding hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars in these upfront investments, which again, that's a sunk cost right off the bat. Now, sounds like Ford is trying to listen a little bit, and this comes to us thanks to The Verge, specifically is Umar, who wrote this article. They say, quote, Ford slims down dealership EV requirements after a pushback. Ford is dropping many of the pricey package requirements it put in place in order for dealers to sell the F-150 Lightning and the Mustang Mach-E's, which, yeah, I mean, last time I drove by a dealership, they had a lot of these on the lot. And if you're just listening, not watching the show, there's a picture of the Mustang E-Mach, which is a bastardization of the Mustang name. No, it's not the good old Mustang, in my opinion, granted they do have a different engine options, come with a stick shift and V8 as Ford intended. Granted, I understand they have different options, and they did win the pony war, in my opinion. But yeah, these vehicles and the F-150 Lightning, those are, they're getting better in terms of the overall number of units being sold are increasing, but the rate at which they're selling is much, much decreasing. That's why Ford decreased their battery production by 40% this year. So they had built these factories saying, oh yeah, we're going to build this amount because we have so much EV demand. No, they're dropping it by 40%, which is quite a few to say the least. Though, again, if you don't need to actually tow anything and you just want a truck to go to pick up kids from soccer, I mean, the F-150 Lightning is awesome for that. I actually did see one at a car show recently. It was sitting and standing there quite well. And interesting enough, if you would have to tow a vehicle, it would probably get to this destination as long as it was under 20 miles. I only partially jest. Now, scrolling down into the substance in terms of some of the price points, they know that Ford is revising a strategy of requiring dealers to invest up to $1.2 million for certifications that include mandatory on-site EV chargers, upgrades, and advanced staff training. Wow. That was the first proposal. All right, you want to sell our Mustang E-Mach and the Ford F-150 Lightning? All right, give us $1.2 million. And again, that does pay for some infrastructure, some knickknacks and tools. But geez, $1.2 million. Now, they also note in an email to The Verge, Ford Model E CEO, which again, that is their electric division of the company. They're divided into three. So you got the Ford Blue, which is the one that you and I know and love, the one that makes the internal combustion engines and the stick shifts, which is rare and rare these days. Then you have Ford Commercial, which is, the big F1, F450, 550, 750 Banana Falcon, where they call the big monstrosities, which are very great commercial vehicles. So those make profit too. And they have the Ford, Ford E, which, yeah, that's the one that's losing money. They lost $136,000 per vehicle. Was it Q1? Granted, they're moving in the right direction, just like most of these companies. The losses are lessening. So they do suspect they'll get to profitability this year. We'll see. Now, again, Martin Gajala, who again is the Ford Model E CEO, wrote in an email, said that starting July 1st, the company is expanding EV sales and services to all 2,800 of its U.S. dealers, which replaces the Mustang E dealership program, which introduced first in 2022. Gajah wrote that approximately 1,400 dealerships had enrolled in the old program. Wow. Now, granted, I'm not a mathematician or by any means, that's why I pay someone else to do accounting. But nevertheless, that's about 50% of dealerships saying, hell no, we don't want to pay for this stuff. That's it. Yeah, that's a lot of them saying, I was going to say, not to talk smack about public school systems, but for those who did attend, including myself, well, that's about half that didn't want to adopt this new program. We have now contributed more than some public schools in the United States, which is quite sad. Not all, but some. Now, they say that, quote, the move is to dismantle the EV certification requirements was rumored to be underway last month in dealership meetings. Ford was at odds of dealerships after being accused of violating state franchise laws while also losing the leverage of sales of popular EVs like Tesla slowed, even though Ford's own EV and hybrids are up. The old program had as 2/3 of Ford dealerships previously agreed to sign up for the EV certification tag. It included one premium elite tier, and one standard tier was only needed up to $500,000 of investments. Jeez Louise. Hostile idea. I also said Ford literally wanted dealerships to install multiple chargers with some available for public use, but pushback made the automaker revise those requirements in November, which, yeah, again, that'd be terrible. Because again, those chargers aren't really making you money. And so you just have people at the dealership just getting their car charged. I mean, that would literally just waste time and resources. Because again, EVs, you're not upgrading every year, so the sales reps aren't going to try to upsell you on anything like that. And yeah, I don't see much advantages in that regard. So it's nice that they're going to slim down the requirements. It'll be easier. It'll be interesting to see if this actually changes the overall adoption rate. What's that's going to be looking like? Because again, EVs on average are becoming more and more sluggish, pun moderately intended. But yeah, maybe Ford will make a comeback and they'll lessen. Maybe they will make a profit this year. I mean, maybe. I'm not sure. Let me know. Do you think they'll actually make a profit this year for EVs? Well, I mean, again, $136,000 loss per vehicle Q1. That's not great. But let me know in the comments as always. Be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, and good one in fact, Volkswagen pivots billions from EVs to good old internal combustion engines, aka the fun that's fun to drive and will last 20, 30, 50, 100 years, usually if it's Japanese manufactured. But nevertheless, this is brought to us thanks to Beverly Braga. They say, quote, VW shifting billions from EV plans to gas car development. And there you can see a nice, granted I'm a little bit biased, I love my little green Honda Civic Si. And you have a cool little picture. Again, I'm not a Volkswagen aficionado, but pretty sure that's probably a good old Lamborghini, which Volkswagen, spoiler alert, Volkswagen owns a lot of the most fun, awesome brands and used to be the best of all in terms of when Mr. Peach was in charge. They had the fastest car in the world with the Bugatti Veyron. They had the most fuel economic car in the world with the Volkswagen, I forget what the specific model is called, but got like 350 miles per gallon. It's mostly a carbon fiber amalgamation, but it is astronomically impressive engineering. And then they decided to go into EVs, and it's gotten so bad that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, the CEO of Volkswagen said their brand is no longer like solvent. He said it's no longer relevant, which I've never heard a CEO shoot themselves in the foot that much. Well, perhaps listen to Hydroshout over at Bud Light. They spent $185,000 to lose $1.4 billion. So granted, that wasn't the biggest business model in the world for Volkswagen, but yeah, they were admitting, oh yeah, we're not really able to make, our brand is kind of junk these days. Now, they say that VW isn't the first major, this is by Beverly Braga over that to drive. They say VW isn't the first major automaker to reassess EV situation, including Ford, GM, and Mercedes, which I want to say fact check on this, but Mary Barra still thinks they should go all in on EVs at General Motors. Also, friendly reminder, they've gone bankrupt 3 times since Billy Durant founded the company by bringing together Oldsmobile and Buick. So statistically speaking, I wouldn't follow what GM is doing. And again, they're saying they're going all in on EVs still. So I don't know about that. Now, they say that they're putting the plans to go fully electric by 2030 to 2040 on hold. So again, a lot of these companies are making these statements, perhaps perhaps hoping to have less governments beating them up and trying to destroy their profits and forcing people to buy EVs. So a lot of these companies are saying, oh yeah, we're going to make a commitment. We're going to go full EV by 2030 or 2040. And here's our roadmap of how we're going to lose billions of dollars to get there. And then, then we and the government can control the vehicles because they're all electric and computers on wheels. They didn't say that out loud, but that's what many of us are thinking. Nevertheless, they say about how many dollars are they talking about. They're going to invest 1/3 of about $64 billion into gas engines, which that is quite a bit to say the least. $34 billion. Wow, this is from CEO Arno Alnutz, said VW's investment dollars will still go into internal combustion engines. Now they say, let's see here, Volkswagen brand did sell 500,000th EV 1 year ahead of schedule, but the VW CEO Thomas Schaffer dismissed e-fuels as unnecessary noise, so they're not really going down that road. And this is great news. Now it's also a little sad that they're gonna have a hybrid Lamborghini, which again 12 people will love. Granted, if it was up to me, every Lamborghini would have a V12 by default, as Mr. Lamborghini intended, with perhaps a V10 thrown in for variety, and the economical Lamborghini. So this is great news for any automobile enthusiasts or just people who want a vehicle that'll last more than 5 to 8 years, and batteries inevitably die on these big monstrosity EVs, which again are great if you could lease it from a manufacturer and they actually lose money in those situations. But me, I actually prefer to actually smile and have fun when driving. So me, I'll always have a gas engine with a good old third pedal, also known as a manual transmission. The best way to drive any automobile, bar none. I mean, if Volkswagen really wanted to make some headlines, they're going to say, hey, we're going to have Lamborghinis with a stick shift. Which, again, they make even more money because used stick shift Lamborghinis and Ferraris are selling for 2 to 3 times their same model, same used year with automatics. Again, stick shifts are much more fun. But it'll be interesting to see what other automobile companies start to wake up and smell the lithium fires. Because again, consumer demand is fleeting. Hybrids are growing in popularity, but hybrids, again, require an internal combustion engine. So let me know. Again, also the high interest rates are also hurting automobile sales across the board. Do you think more and more of these automobile companies are going to pull back from their original statements? When again, nearly all of them are saying we're going to go all in on we're going to full EV fleet by 2030, 2040. Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news: you have Sony Pictures to buy Alamo Drafthouse movie theaters, which is quite interesting to say the least, and shows you how much movie theaters have been kneecapped for the past couple of decades. One of the most successful entrepreneurs in history would be Howard Hughes, and back in the day, there were actually antitrust concerns and lawsuits. I believe they actually went to court, where he was one of the very few individuals and business entities where they had the actually filming production, they had the and then they had the distribution mechanism. Then you had the theaters all under one corporate entity, and Hollywood or the antitrust were worried about that, so they shot that down, I believe. My memory's a little bit fuzzy. It's been a while since I read those books, but it's been a very, the government was concerned about antitrust lawsuits, or rather, antitrust had one company that controlled the full supply chain of media, and they wouldn't allow it. That's why a lot of movie theaters, to this day, are pretty much independent. Now that being said, most movie theaters are dying. There's only a couple big chains left. And you got AMC, which I believe is Kansas, and of course you have Cinemark, which is headquartered out of Plano, Texas. And you have Alamo, which I believe they're actually headquartered out of Austin, Texas. Now Alamo isn't really a volume business to my understanding. We'll see how many locations they have. Now this is first brought to us thanks to Ramisha Murph over on CNN, on CNN Business specifically. They say Sony Pictures is buying Alamo Drafthouse. Got a little picture, nice little picture there, a little outside. Scroll down a little bit here. Now, they say Alamo Drafthouse, headquartered in Austin, Texas, has 35 theaters in 25 metro areas, grows popularity, and has a passionate fan base due to its dine-in and cocktail menus, and its reputation on the Oasis for firm buffs and strict no-talking rules, which is pretty good. Now, they say they went for bankruptcy in 2021. They come back. Now, Sony said in a press release that the movie theater chain will be managed under a new division, Sony Picture Experiences. Alamo Drafthouse CEOs Michael Kusterman will remain in position, but will now report to Ravi Ahul, president and COO of SPE. While other Hollywood studios have jumped into streaming, Sony Pictures CEO and chairman Tom Rothman has expressed his commitment to movie theaters, according to various trade publications, including The Hollywood Reporter. Sony Pictures touted its other space changes and press releases, such as Wonderverse and Immense Entertainment Space in Chicago and the Wheel of Fortune Live traveling tour. They say, quote, "The deal reinforces SPE's long-held commitment in theatrical exhibition and continued initiatives in experimental entertainment." It looks like Sony acquired Alamo from owners Altamont Capital Partners, Fortress Investment Group, and founder Tim Loog. And now that I think about it, they do also have Studio Movie Grill, which is, I think they're headquartered actually in, not Carrollton, Texas, where is it? Right north of Dallas. But there's a couple, mid-sized companies that are catering to this, premium experience where you're not crammed in like sardines in a can, but you actually have room to actually, put your elbows out, and you can actually have, fancy food and cocktails, which, again, that's much better for the business because much higher profitability. So I'll be interested to see, if there's any preferential treatment for Sony movies as opposed to, if they just continue to carry all movies, of course. But yeah, that's how the movie industry has gotten just so far down, and it's so small that the government's not going to give a damn about this purchase, because again, there's also only 35 sites. It's very low volume, and and there's still some folks who love going to the movie theater. And I can't trying to remember last time I actually went to one. I think it's for I guess my tech company did host like a John Wick premiere, and we did rent out an entire like a little suite at the AMC, which is pretty fun. Like, as an individual, I can't imagine spending, I don't know, 20, 30, $40 just to go see a movie on a big screen. But that's just me. When's the last time you actually saw a movie that you can recall? Did you have a good experience, or did someone actually have the audacity where their phone went off? Which I don't want to say they should be shunned from society, but they should probably be placed in the same category of people who do not return their shopping cart after they go to the grocery store. Actually, no, I take that back. Maybe they should be shunned from society. But let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have an employee posting a straight pride post on social media and getting fired after being an employee at the specific business for 20 years, just gone after one post, which is the power and detriment of some social media interactions. And again, this is why I also suspect Elon recently made it private so no one will know what you like on social media. Now, this, of course, is a different category, but I kind of see how it's adjacent. Now, this is brought to us thanks to End Wokeness, in which he says, quote, new, Madonna Schism is fired from a local NBC News outlet over this straight pride post. She worked at the outlet for 20 plus years. And for those who are not tuning in, although she did not suit up, as all men should, well, actually dress up, nevertheless, she's wearing a respectful, nice NBC polo, which is actually bright orange. And I don't know, I like neon color or unique colors for marketing. And for those who are just tuning in, she's an African American woman, and she's wearing a bright orange polo with the NBC logo on it. And her post did not show her. So her profile picture on X Twitter does appear to be the company logo, but the specific post on social media does not show her, does not show the company's logo, and it's simply a man and a woman who are married, and it says, celebrate straight pride, it's natural, it has worked for thousands of years, and you can make babies, unquote. And this went pretty viral. It got 1.3 million views and 33,000 likes. And I'd be fascinated to hear from international viewers. In the United States, if a private business is employing you, in every instance I could conceive of, they are not politically protected in terms of if you have a disagreement with their politics, you can fire them. That's not a protected category. Now, if you're a federal employee, that's where things get a little bit different in the United States, where they can't fire you based on your religion or sort of things like that. Now, there's been more pushback against Pride Month, I was going to say this year, I was about to say this month, it is also this month, than any other time I can conceive. Even as a child, when I was, back in my day, it's elementary school, there's a Pride Day. Then it became a week, then it became a month, and now if you look at the calendar, it's actually most of the year because they have all these days throughout the year. And historically speaking, it was very popular on social media, especially the traditional legacy social media, and pretty much every business actually changed their logo for Pride Month, especially on social media network known as LinkedIn, now owned by Microsoft. Seems like every company changed their logo, they put out a statement. This is the first year we're actually starting to see pushback. You had, was it 6 to 9 NFL teams just skip it entirely, where a lot of companies almost feel like it's an obligatory thing where you have to post like June 1st, the first of the month, how your company is supporting it. The cliche term you hear is ally, and also alienate some prospective customers and employees. But nevertheless, it was a popular business practice. Now, again, it's fascinating that, again, if she didn't have the company logo as her profile picture, I think there'd be even more pushback. And don't get me wrong, there's people who are irate about this because, again, you could also make the argument this is also for her standing up for religion, since religion is all about men and women getting married. And I mean, you read the Bible, procreation is a big part of it. And, well, I should say real churches will actually still preach that. You have these new churches that are just a bastardized amalgam. It's almost like a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. It's the Disneyfication of churches is what I see. And they just try to keep expanding the audience by, again, you want everyone to come to your church, but you don't want to change your morals and values in order to get people. So I always tell people you want church another time for another time perhaps. But yeah, I think you could also make the stance that she is making a religious statement here as well. Now, some of the first comments comes from Gunther Eagleman, says, quote, I hope she sues the F out of him. And I got 3.1 thousand likes, which, again, it does not say the state she resides in, but I would guess she's an employee at will, which means you or the business can end that relationship at any given moment. Traditionally, you give each other 2 weeks notice. It's kind of the business standard. So I don't know how. Now, Elon has said that he would defend employees who get fired for using X Twitter. I don't know if there's a legal ground to stand on here. Now, scrolling down more and more, you have Call Out in the World saying she should sue them. This is not okay. Got 4.7 thousand likes. It is fascinating how there are certain categories where you're not allowed to be proud. Because, again, she's not saying anything pejorative about Pride Month. She's not slandering anyone. She's not degrading anyone. She's simply saying why she likes straight pride, what she thinks the benefits are of it. But in the United States, culturally speaking, there are certain things where you'll just be socially ostracized on average. Kind of like how every race, like you have Black pride, you have Hispanic pride, you have Asian pride. heaven forbid you actually have a white pride, that's immediately social media will lambast you. They'll completely roast you, as they used to say. Interestingly enough, I forgot to post my what is it, the Hispanic pride thingamajig. Yeah, I should have had a cigar. Although I've never actually been to Cuba, that's where that's where my family came from. But nevertheless, some of the other top comments comes from Paul Zupa saying, quote, "Yet another reason not to use Facebook. At least with X, if you get fired for exercising your right for free speech, Elon Musk will help get you justice. Madam Chisholm and everyone else in the world who uses Facebook needs to stop. Same goes for YouTube users." I got 449 likes, which, yeah, I mean, they should. I mean, Twitter is the only social media platform I actually pay for. Not to brag, but I do have $7 a month to pay for X Twitter. And I do that partially because of Elon's stance on free speech. It's the only place where you won't be censored up the wazoo, which is also why I upload to the Big Green social media website as well for streaming. Which allegedly, if you say it on on YouTube, you'll get not deplatformed, you'll get blacklisted. Mama Maga says she is right in this picture of, is it 1920s or 30s? Yeah, the old, like the guys you see riding the old penny horse, or what is it, the big comical bikes with a huge wheel in front. And it says heterosexual is the only thing standing between humanity and extinction since forever. Got 1.7 thousand likes. Liberty Pill Meme says, "What's wrong with straight pride? I'm letting everyone know I'm hetero, so feel free to praise me for my courage and incredible bravery." I got 1,000 likes, which, yeah. Let's see. Sarah Smith says, "Look familiar," and it is a African-American woman with it's called Black Conservatives, and a white liberal girl putting her hand over her. And that got 2.7 thousand likes, which, yeah, it's disgusting how, yeah, I'll never forget Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I'm surprised it didn't go more viral on social media when it was at the 2020 election, where he wasn't drunk or anything. He said that when he was on an interview with was it Charlemagne, who's a black podcaster. Scrolling down more and more, Liberty Pill Meme says you should have celebrated sex offenders culture instead. And it looks like a man with purple hair, peach fuzz, or beard, lipstick, glasses. It says defacing a pride crosswalk is a crime against humanity. And the trad man says, "Why does your name appear on the sex offender registry?" Got 354 likes. Which again, why do you? That's the biggest mind control thing in the world. We're gonna paint a mural on the ground so you can't use the ground. Ridiculous. Let's see. You have. Let's see. The same memes or cliche leftist memes. It says straight pride is homophobic. What do you have to be proud of? And then the trad man and trad girl say, creating every human being that ever existed. It got 796 likes. That's Fast 84 says it's not very inclusive of them. Maybe Libs of TikTok should expose them, getting 249 likes. Dino says, "May her lawsuit be swift and the settlement bountiful," getting 788 likes. Let's see. Red Wave Press says, "Absurd. She should sue for discrimination. What happened to free speech in America? File if you agree." Getting 301 likes. Which, again, technically, legally speaking, as far as I know, they could absolutely fire her. I don't agree with that. I don't think they should have. But I'm not sure. And I'm hoping she'll get I was going to say it happened. So yesterday, Planet of Memes responded in mostly text form, which is, I want to say it's disappointing. But, I mean, they're named Planet of Memes. One would suspect they responded in meme form. Here they did. So we'll do that last comment. Planet of Memes says this is something to be proud of. It's a husband, wife with children. It says pride in national families. That got 995 likes, which, yeah, that's definitely, I like that. 196 likes. And yeah, we actually have a quite concerning decrease in the birth rate globally. So yeah, if anything, you need to have more kids these days. So it'll be interesting to see, what the heck is this? Okay, I lied. One more. Liberty Pill Meme says, "Meanwhile, LGBT people are getting raises." And there's a picture, someone took a picture of a TV at their work. It says, "Is my work about to pay people more for being gay?" And the TV monitor says LGBTQ plus Pay Awareness Day is apparently June 16th. I thought that was Father's Day, but perhaps that's just me. That got 62 likes. So, again, not too surprised. I don't suspect there will be a lawsuit. Yeah, I just don't see any legal stand that they have. Should they have fired her? Absolutely not, in my opinion. And yeah, I think more and more people are starting to push back, and they just I think more people just want to be left alone. They don't want things pushed down their face. But let me know in the comments. Have you seen this in your workplace? Do you think she'll get a job somewhere at a competitor? As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have NASA pride flag getting ratioed, which one would wonder, what does pride have to do with the moon and space? And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. NASA is known for doing some things, not much. I mean, I kind of know them for being inept with SpaceX doing everything better, more efficiently, and faster. But nevertheless, this was brought to us thanks to End Wokeness, and he said, "quote I just ratioed NASA," and NASA had a picture of the trans pride progress flag, but with space background, so the colors are the same. And I got 1,000 likes. And Wokeness said, "Meanwhile, at SpaceX," and it's a picture of the SpaceX rocket being launched, it got 3.6 thousand likes, which kind of shows you NASA's priorities too. It is fascinating how the United States, when you just say the word pride, everyone already associates it with the LGBT stuff. Because again, there are many things to be prideful of: your work, your family, but it is fascinating how the cultural vernacular, that is exactly that has captured the market. Very similar to the rainbow, which ironically used to be a symbol. Well, the original use of the rainbow was a symbol from God, promising not to flood the world again. Not to get too biblical, but that symbol has been so hijacked by the Pride movement. When people see it, that's what they think of first. So it's fascinating to see how that logo, or not logo, that symbol has changed over time, has been hijacked. Now, went for the vowel, and Wokeness got by 422,000 views, 25,000 likes. Now, Paul Zuba is saying, quote, NASA is just trying to proving why we should cut all the funding to them. Why not? Why would you trust anything built by DEI? Getting 363 likes, which I'd love to see the federal breakdown of, not just the physical resources, but what's the ROI from NASA? What are they providing that helps the average user? Now, again, historically speaking, I know they've done some fantastical things, and there's been a ripple effect where defense contractors have manufactured things from NASA, and eventually got to consumer markets. I understand that completely, especially when going to the moon, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, what have they been up to lately? Leave me a comment if you know what's going on over there. Libercat Media TM says this is the way, and it's a compilation of all the different sexual banners. It says no one has to go along with this weird shit. They also added tire marks to it, which is another trend where people are doing burnouts over these mural LGBT pride, trans pride progress murals on the streets. Which, again, any public money painting crap on the street is the dumbest marketing idea ever, because cars literally drive over it. It blows my mind. I absolutely would not put an American flag on the street. It's designed for cars. Just business-wise, it's a waste of money. It's terrible marketing. If anything, throw a mural on the side of a building where it won't immediately get dirty. But that's just me. That's my small little rant or soapbox of the day. So, fascinatingly enough, being on a soapbox these days is probably quite awkward and cumbersome, since most of them are probably just corrugated cardboard. But nevertheless, that did get 424 likes. Drew King says Jesus Christ is my Savior and God. Got 111 likes with a picture of Jesus. Let's see here. I got 22 likes, 37 likes. Charlie says NASA could be mission driven, Mercury, Gemini, Apollo. Now it's just another bloated government bureaucracy. Getting 45 likes, which, yeah. Cheese No Beyond says no wonder why NASA and Boeing are literally falling flat. Getting 10 likes. Kaiser Soze said, oh, is that the real one? That's a blue check mark. Must be. They say Elon really out there like Flash Gordon, saving the universe, getting 25 likes. AC says, seems like NASA struggles to launch both rockets and social media campaigns. We got 84 likes. I didn't realize this at the time, but NASA actually did a Pride post on June 1st. Did get 1 million views, but they shut down comments nearly immediately, which is a true sign that your ideals are indefensible, or you don't believe in them, and you're just a tyrant and you believe in censorship or evil. Again, my comments are always open, and ironically and hilarious enough, most of them are not very kind. Some are negative, but they are what's the nice way? Constructive criticism is always appreciated because it does help me improve the show. But yeah, I don't shut down the comments because I believe in free speech. Even if it is just ratioing me in the comments and lambasting me, I still leave them open. And life is a lot more interesting, not just in an echo chamber. But I partially digress. Florida 1 says, others talk a good game while others actually own the game. If NASA could do what Tesla was doing, they would have already done it. Getting 13 likes, which, yeah, or SpaceX specifically. Going down. Luke Longer fan says NASA sucks. It has since the space shuttle program. They've done more to stop progress in human exploration than help, getting 8 likes. Let's see. Then you have I don't know what this is. You have Leonardo DiCaprio wearing a suit, as all men should, but he's talking to a guy at like a bar or restaurant, and he squints when the guy asks him a question. The other guy is, I'm not a big cinema expert. Most of the best movies are all black and white, but nevertheless, Leonardo DiCaprio is talking to this guy, says, do you think transgender people should be able to go to space? And the guy responds saying, they can hardly be in their own bodies. And then I was supposed to say Leonardo DiCaprio squints. I think I got 21 likes. Again, it'll be interesting. Then he also has SpaceX. Oh yeah, they do have Pride. So SpaceX had the flag. Oh wait, that's the original Pride flag. So just the stripes horizontally. So they have the rainbow. That did get 5 likes. Again, I think there's a difference between having. I was gonna say it looks like that SpaceX has a Pride parade, but they're not naked and there's not kids there. So to me, that's not a big point of controversy. Where again, that's where a lot of the public support starts to move away when you start to involve those types of things. Let's see, and then there's also a big difference between having a primary purpose of a business, or in this case, a government entity, and pushing an ideology or lifestyle, whatever you want to consider it, and acknowledging it and supporting employees who are living it. I think those are 2 different things. But let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Trump proposing to repeal the federal income tax and replace it with tariffs, which I don't want to say this guarantees him a lot of votes, but this definitely gets him more votes. Because one of the most important things in the United States is the federal government stealing from you with the federal income tax. Back in the day, there was no federal income tax. And the first time it was proposed, I believe it was Abraham Lincoln with the Civil War, it was 3%. 3. And then you had World War, it's gone back and forth throughout history. Mostly we didn't have it. And then World War II came along, and they said, you know what? We're going to have a temporary income tax, or volunteer first. They go, well, this war's getting expensive. We're going to have you know what? Just for the war, we'll have an income tax for folks. And of course, they never went away, like all government taxes. One of the most famous ones being the Illinois toll system, where I would unfortunately have to visit family in that place. And they said, oh yeah, we're going to build this highway. The tolls will only be the temporary. They just pay for the highway. Then once the highway was built, they go, well, we're just going to keep it a little longer. And to this day, they have it. It's like $15 a toll. Which is why if I have to visit family, just for spite, I pay them in pennies. But I partially digress. This is one of Trump's best ideas for many reasons. And it went pretty viral on social media. There's actually one of the first reporters was leading report. And they say, quote, breaking, Trump allegedly floated the concept of eliminating the income tax and replacing it with the tariffs at a GOP meeting at the Capitol Hill Club. So I guess I should say allegedly. Like, damn, that's such a good idea. This guy go with it. Should go with it. Got 8.3 million views and 57,000 likes. And this would be great for many reasons, not just because government theft is bad and Lord knows what are they doing with our money? Mostly giving it to other people, but nevertheless, well, this is where that would also spur manufacturing in the United States. Because imagine if you had to pay a tariff, which again, you're paying a fine or paying extra money for something that's important to the United States, like for example, an iPhone, one of the most famous imports in history, and also shows the capability of manufacturing in China and subsequently India, where they're moving production. Well, they can manufacture here, or let's say there's a 20% tariff. Well, then you have to pay 20. Let's say if it's $1,000 from China, you would have to pay $1,200 because there'd be a 20% tariff. Now, I'm not sure if they would also have you probably would have also a local sales tax as well, which in Texas is 8.25%. Yes, it's way too high. But if you had something that's manufactured here, you wouldn't have that tariff. So this would also have the effect of increasing U.S. manufacturing. Now, scrolling down, some of the first comments comes from Luke Rukowski, one of my favorite YouTubers, and looks like I'm already following him. He says brilliant. Where he has a gif of what's that guy, the British guy who yells at people? Not Gordon Ramsay. Thomas Simon Cowell. Where the American Idol thingamajig is. I got 80 likes. Oddstreet says government F word government cigarette word bags. I don't know if it's pejorative anymore. Won't like this one. I got 1.4 thousand likes. Going down more and more. Truth Hammer says be a real shame if the world watched the petrodollar break under Biden's watch and Trump MAGA had to overhaul the entire debt slavery system to fix it. Getting 277 likes, which spoiler alert, yeah, Saudi Arabia. It's kind of let that expire, so get ready for inflation. Going down more and more. Camelot official says, how do I vote 37 times? Asking a dev leftist. Can you all let me know? Well, I was going to say, just go to counties where they don't require voter ID, which astronomically enough does exist in America. That got 374 likes. Al Specker says 20% flat tax will never happen, but should be the first stop. 314 likes, which would be an interesting idea. I've also had interesting discussions with people who would think it'd be more effective to have a VAT tax or a tax only a sales tax. So you'd have no income tax, which one of the biggest issues with that is if you're here in the United States illegally, which millions and millions are, well, if they don't get to tax their income, if they had to, again, pay a sales tax that's much larger or a VAT tax, well, then the government would still get money from them, even though they're not getting an income tax from those individuals. So I've actually heard more and more people talking about that economic argument lately. Scrolling down more and more. Trump also said he wouldn't want to tax tips, which I like that. Brandon Herrera, also known as the AK guy, says based as fuck, getting 7.2 thousand likes. I thought I'd be the one to get to 7.3, but not today. I did like it nevertheless. Going down more and more. Gunther Eagleman says LFG getting 420 likes. Let's see. Alexa says, can you imagine how amazing it would be? 30 to 40% of our paychecks back in our pockets, plus there'd be no reason for the IRS. Get 7.3 thousand likes, which, oh yeah, talk about a double whammy. Like everyone is struggling right now just to make ends meet. Imagine if you've got to keep all the money the federal government steals, taxes from you and I. How much easier would life be? Astronomically better, to say the least. Red Wave Press says this is more realistic than the original report of eliminating the income tax and having nothing to replace it. I hope Trump does this. It's time we cut back on how much Americans are paying in taxes. Getting 2.9 thousand likes, which I definitely like that. Because yeah, I think we're at our breaking point. People can barely break even, yet alone to buy a house. And again, another issue with the government is the interest rates, which again the Federal Reserve, and don't even get me started on that. But yeah, there's a reason I still rent these days, and yeah, it's ridiculous what's going on and how much the government takes from us. And again, if Americans were really good at math, we'd just sit down and say, hey, I guess we do a little small experiment right now, not really experiment, but walk it through. Let's say you make $100. Well, the federal government steals 40%. Let's say you live in a state that takes 10% income tax. That's 50% of your paycheck gone already. Then you want to buy something. That's 5 to 8% sales tax. That's gone. Then you have everything else. You have gas tax, alcohol tax, telecom tax, aka internet tax, water tax. What else? There's so many. Yeah, fuel tax, inheritance tax, property tax. Again, when I was a kid, my dad told me what property tax was, and unfortunately they were screwed over by the government because it was more expensive than a mortgage. And I literally told my dad I thought it was a scam. Like, so you're buying the house every year, and then eventually they got to the point where they pay off their house. And I'm like, but every year you still have to pay? He goes, yeah, it's property tax. I'm like, sounds like a scam. And to this day, I still think it's a scam. Going down more and more. Dell says, dude, let's freaking go. Taxation is 100% theft. I hope Donald Trump does this, and I hope it passes his. Getting 2.5 thousand likes. Now that's the other issue. Could this be done through executive order if he does actually win? Because again, a lot of people are starting to speculate. What if Trump wins? But what if the Republicans lose the House and Senate? And don't forget, there's a lot of useless rhinos, pejoratively known as Republicans in name only. Remember last time Trump was in the White House, again, I'm someone who believes in the Second Amendment because I'm American, well, they were trying to get suppressors off the NFA, or the National Firearms Act of 1934, which would mean you could buy a suppressor with a standard background check and 4473 paperwork. And right now, if you want to buy a suppressor, you have to have fingerprints taken, and you have to have a passport photo and more BS paperwork. You're basically treated as a criminal for your God-given rights. And again, the Republicans had the White House, they had the House of Representatives, and they had the Senate, and they had a bill that could have taken suppressors and treated it like a standard firearm, again, on a 4473 and a background check to purchase. And yet, they didn't even bring up for a vote because there's so many useless rhinos. Again, pejoratively known as Republican in name only. So that'd be another issue is how does Trump, if he does win, how would he actually get this? How would he actually get this done? That's another thing. A lot of people are speculating that Trump might win, but Republicans will lose heavy in the Senate and House of Representatives. That's just again, we'll see what the polls are like, but that could happen. Let's see. Bernard Wachari says, let it be heard, and says everything was better under Trump. No war, no woke CRT, no inflation, no illegals, border secured, high employment, energy independence, strong military, peace through strength, America first. At 217 likes, which it was the first time, I believe, in 60 years where the U.S. was energy independent, which shows you how inept our government is. It's almost as if they want us to struggle and buy oil for countries who hate us. See a couple more. There's got to be some contrarians. There's got to be someone who says we need to pay more taxes. I have some very left friends who do agree that the taxes are to be increased and it should be illegal to make certain amounts of money. Let's see. Let's run down one more. Mr. Vincent Stava says Trump knows what's up. We've got to get this man a second term, getting 591 likes. Michaela Rose says that's exactly what he plans to do, and he's going to get rid of the credit score system. I mean, that would never happen. That got 234 likes. I mean, Biden is proposing taking medical debt off of the credit system, which again would skew your credit score and also give landlords and other people a false impression of your ability to pay. Again, medical debt is, I know it's a rough thing. They do have payment plans, but again, getting rid of the credit score, it is an issue that there are so many variables in so many parts of your life that are dependent on a credit score. But at the same time, how does a landlord know that you have a high propensity to pay? Like right now I'm renting this house. I wish I owned it, but when I was doing my application, my landlord did a standard credit check to see, historically speaking, did I pay my apartment bills on time? Did I pay my water bills on time? And again, that all goes into your score and says, hey, Topping has a high propensity of paying his obligations on time. And again, I don't see the credit scores ever going away in the United States. I think it's BS that you are sometimes punished when you actually pay things off early in that regard. Again, I think that could be tweaked. I'd agree with that, but I'm not sure about this person's idea to get rid of it. Now, Rob says, cool, a politician thinking outside the box for the benefit of Americans. Novel concept, don't y'all think? Getting 377 likes, which, yeah. Again, one of my favorite sayings about Democrats and Republicans, Democrats are running off a cliff, but Republicans are walking there because, again, they both seem to be going in the direction that doesn't benefit the average American. Now, Nate, or if my dyslexia wasn't acting up, I'd be able to pronounce it, Nate Kent, but nevertheless, Nate Kent says, quote, flat 10% income tax across the board with no loopholes would take care of this country 10x over and lift the communities out of poverty. Wrong. That got 146 likes, though. Again, one of the issues with poverty in communities is also culture. Again, it's a multivariable reason of why people exist in poverty. And you look at, the most effective mechanism since the dawn of time to lift people out of poverty, historically speaking, is capitalism. I can go down a long road on that, but again, I'm not sure about a flat income tax. That's another debate for another time, and I've heard some interesting arguments both ways. Do a couple more. Tez says taxation is death, getting 227 likes. Let's see if there's any contrarian statements in here. I'm trying to find it. Let's see here. Going down more and more. Native Patriot said this would literally change the world, getting 95 likes, which, again, it would in many ways, especially manufacturing. Let's see here. Jane Hanna says the IRS costs us way too much. Make a flat tax at 9%, getting 83 likes. Which again, that would move us greatly in the right direction, I believe, because again, a lot of people are paying 30, 35, 40% federal income tax. At what point do you just not work? That's another reason I think the war on poverty is complete BS when you look at the rates of poverty and how much trillions of dollars you spent on it, and yet in many ways it's actually had the inverse effect and hurt people, make them dependent on the government, which if I'm being negative, I would say, well, I kind of think government just does that so that you remain dependent on the government, and then vote for a bigger and bigger government to get more and more free stuff. But nevertheless, it looks like overwhelming support for this alleged idea, and it'll be interesting to see if Trump, makes this one of the big talking points for the upcoming election. Because yeah, that would be a revolutionary idea. I mean, think about it. Since World War II, we've had an astronomically high income tax in the United States. Lord knows how much of that money actually stays here and how much of it actually helps us at the end of the day and what we actually get out of it. Another topic for another time, perhaps. But if I think of the top 10 good bullet points Trump should be putting on T-shirts and mugs and all the swag, this would be a good one. It's a very revolutionary concept. Everyone is being taxed to death, struggling. That'd be a fun question. What would you do if you got to keep that 30 to 40% the government's taking right now? I mean, personally, I couldn't buy a house tomorrow, but I'd save that money, and I'd definitely start saving up more for a house, even more than I am now. And shoot, if I got to keep that, I could probably sway a monthly house payment. Rent, that's another issue, is rents keep going up more and more. Personally, that'd be life-changing. But let me know in the comments. Do you think it's a good idea? slowly increase in popularity. Could this be the one idea that sets them over the top? As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Saudi Arabia Petrodollar agreement. Well, it expires, so get ready for hyperinflation thanks to our government ineptitudes. Now, a lot of people don't realize the vast importance of the petrodollar. It's pretty much the only reason these days a US dollar is worth anything. That being said, it's being worth less and less every day. Now, rudimentarily speaking, if your country wants to buy oil from one of the largest oil producers on the planet, Saudi Arabia, well, they have to take their local currency, which they actually make products for and services, and have to take that currency. They do an exchange to the U.S. dollar. So let's say you're in, well, I was going to say Germany and France used to be, independent, unique countries. Now they all just use the euro. But let's do something else. What's a country we could talk about? Canada, perhaps? I don't know what the correlation is, or I don't know what the currency exchange rate is from mooses to U.S. dollars. Might be a little awkward. We'll do Mexico. So Mexico, if they want to buy oil, traditionally they'd take the peso, which Mexico makes a lot of products, makes a lot of services. They would have an exchange. They'd take their real money, they would change it for the U.S. dollar. Then they take that U.S. dollar and they buy money from Saudi Arabia, rudimentary speaking. And that's why the U.S. dollar has held its value for decades upon decades. Despite now one of the biggest issues of the U.S. is we barely make anything. And again, I work with manufacturers. I have great respect for them. But the manufacturing rates have been decreasing for so long. The U.S. makes very little. The U.S. prints a lot of money, basically just creating fake money. And now that if we don't get this renewed, we're going to be in a tough spot. Now, this was brought to us thanks to BRICS News, which, again, another concern. Americans should be freaking the heck out. More and more countries are moving away from the U.S. dollar. Now, this was brought to us thanks to BRICS News, appropriately named. They say Saudi Arabia's 50-year petrodollar agreement with the United States has expired. No new agreement is in place. You don't realize this might be one of the biggest detriments to the Biden administration. Of all the things to focus on, the stabilization of the U.S. dollar, that's got to be in the top 10. Because again, this is going to hurt everyone. Now, they say, quote, Saudi Arabia will now sell oil in multiple currencies, including Chinese RMB, euros, yen, yuan, the currency not my friend, instead of exclusively U.S. dollars. So all these countries, instead of exchanging their real money for our fiat crap currency, well, now they're going to cut the U.S. out, further decreasing the value of the U.S. dollar. Again, how the U.S. government allowed this to expire without a new agreement in place. And again, Saudi Arabia, we've had allied relationships with that country in the past. Like most countries, we had times where we were more peaceful with them, more allied with them, more contentious against. This better be one of the top notes in the debates. Granted, the debates are going to be probably fixed because, again, they're going to have a mute button, no audience, and I don't know how much real substance will come from it. And if you're just tuning in, you have a picture, and you have the Saudi Arabian leader on the left, and then you have juxtaposed with the picture of Joe Biden, who, at least he did suit up for this picture. And interestingly enough, he does have the American flag on his lapel pin, which is a rare thing in DC these days. So it's just a picture of Biden smiling, and then Saudi Arabia, and the leader of Saudi Arabia. And it's got 8 million views. I hope more and more people are starting to wake up to this very important fact. And again, I don't know what Biden's doing today. Sleeping probably, but I don't know who's in the White House or who's really doing stuff, but they should be calling Saudi Arabia now. Excuse me. And saying, hey, we need to meet face to face and hammer this shit out. Pardon the French. I don't know where that expression comes from. Another topic for another time, perhaps. But yeah, this is going to destroy. Again, it's also rough for people who are trying to save pinch their pennies to save for a house. Any savings you have in the bank is going to be, and again, it's not financial advice. With all the evidence we see here, there's going to be high propensity. It's going to be worth even, you already have record high inflation. It's going to be getting even worse. Again, it's got 8 million views and 54,000 likes. Now, scrolling down, one of the first comments comes from 0F saying they're screwing the U.S. citizens so hard and none of this had happened. This is our government disaster. Got 1.5 thousand likes. Oh, 1.6 thousand likes. I was the one like needed to make that jump. Kudos to me, I suppose. Nevertheless, Jimmy Crisaldi says collapse of the U.S. dollar inbound, getting 3.4 thousand likes. Let's see here. Baby says, and it says from Bricks News saying Russia's Moscow Stock Exchange officially suspends all trading in US dollars and euros. Another interesting news that got 1,000 likes. Let's see here. Scrolling down more and more. Real Dark Judge says something tells us the euro will be excluded as time goes on, getting 724 likes. Fun, interesting name. Some might say it's a fun name. Fun says Russia is and should be the best ally now, getting 343 likes, which, yeah, Russia has vast oil reserves and vast natural resources. That's a big part of the economy, which is why it's always astonishing how the U.S. has been adversarial for them. I mean, as soon as that wall fell, there's a big opportunity. But then, of course, the U.S. allegedly, they basically said, Russia, we don't want you in NATO. And NATO became a big club that everyone had to be a part of it, and it became a very adversarial relationship quite quick. Which, again, there's so much opportunity for businesses and people to come together. I really wish it would happen. Journey Across the Internet says, dude, the amount of chaos, this will start very quickly, getting 423 likes. What the heck is this? Hear Me Or says, so maybe Saudi now needs some freedom and democracy, or problem with Iran. It said, there's a picture of a bald eagle in front of the American flag. It says, your country has too much oil, it needs some freedom and democracy. Getting 173 likes. Historian of the Unknown says America's slowing dying, getting 656 likes, which, yes, is any contrarian statements. Peter H. Proctor says, moot, being self-sufficient in oil, the U.S. buys very little from Saudi Arabia anyway. That got 30 likes. We used to be very self-sufficient. I mean, during the Trump administration, was the first time, I believe, 60 years, the U.S. was energy independent. We actually exported more oil than we imported. Again, it was a very rare thing, which is why, I don't know, I'm a big fan of, drill baby drill, get that price of oil. Because again, one of the best parameters to making everyone's lives easier is cheaper energy. Everything around us, quite literally, from the lights on, from the food getting to your table, to you going to your work, cheap fuel fuels the economy in your life. Fun, or I guess double the word usage, partially intended. Varsity Radio says, unfortunately, most Americans have no clue why this impacts the dollar. This agreement was our printing press. Yep, getting 88 likes. Yeah, the debt's going to get worse. Let's see here. Heather says, let me guess, Biden told the Saudis don't. It's getting 63 likes. Which, yeah, I wish there were more businessmen in the government who had, new things like negotiating and getting deals done. See if there's any contrarian statements here. A lot of people saying we're going to go to war with them. Let's see here. Yeah, it's not good. A lot of people have the old animation, that's all, folks. Is that Warner Brothers or Looney Tunes? Well, same thing, I think. They got 9 likes. Let's see. Imiyaz Abed says, it's great. It's a great idea, all currencies to be used to buy petroleum products for KSA. Getting 4 likes. It's advantageous to those other countries. It's terrible for us because, again, it's one of the reasons also the U.S. government gives money to every country, seemingly except us, is so that they use the U.S. dollar. So it's in actual usage, and you trade products and services. Yeah. Things can get pretty bad pretty quick. And I don't know what really, again, not financial advice. I don't know what your average American is going to do once this seemingly inevitable inflation just comes and bites us in the rear. Maybe we'll get lucky and there's some secret politician or some secret person from the U.S. going to Saudi Arabia right now to negotiate a good deal and help the American public out. I mean, probably not, but maybe. The odds are not 0, but probably 0.000000723. So not totally 0, but we shall see. Let me know in the comments. Have you heard about the importance of having the petrodollar in place? Do you think it'll have a detrimental impact going forward? As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have the Trump campaign putting out a video compilation of Biden attempting to speak, and it went pretty viral, to say the least. Now, this is first posted thanks to End Wokeness on X Twitter. He says, haha, Trump just posted this video of Biden's most inspiring quotes. And it's only about a minute long. And granted, some people could argue I speak worse than Biden. You might have to fact check that. Might be about the same, depending on what day of the week it is. Though, I would argue, the more people that have clicked that subscribe button, the better and more articulate I become. Now, I say this because when I first started the podcast about a year ago, I spoke even faster than I did now, believe it or not. I was mostly monotone, so really kind of a little bit boring, and mispronouncing darn near everything, and to be frank, stumbling over my words more often than not. However, as I gain more subscribers, I've slowly but surely become much more articulate in comparison. So I do have that theory. If you click the subscribe button, whatever platform you're watching on, I would greatly appreciate it, and it could very well assist with my ability to speak coherently. And someday I will perhaps get through a whole episode speaking with quite articulate proficiencies. You might just surprise you and I. So if you can do me a favor and click that button, it would help fuel that theory, and I would, of course, appreciate it. Now, I usually say their voice is infinitely better than mine. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. It's about a minute long, and looks like a little video compilation as well. So without too much further ado, go ahead and I'll click that.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with.
Now this is a great Scrabble word, if that's a real word. That's, I think this is translated ASEEMFHUUTHIMAAFUUTHEEMSCUSEME. I think you win Scrabble with that word. That's like the whole board. Nevertheless.
Xi Jinping.
She knows so long as she is denied, our freedom can never be secured. We'll never forget lying around and him lying around actually.
It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize Trueindernationanderpreshure.
That's my favorite one. Yeah, so Trueindernationanderpreshure, that's spelled, again, if you're a Scrabble or Bananagrams aficionado, this might be a real word. I mean, it's not, but it's spelled Truindernationanderpreshure. Trueindernationanderpreshure, which I don't know how someone's not made like a rap or like a music parody of that. I mean, that sounds like a cool thing you'd see on the streets, as youth might say. Oh, that was so good. I'll go ahead and I'll wind it back a little bit.
An effective strategy to mobilize Trueindernationanderpreshure.
Trueindernationanderpreshure. It ends with a fireworks that says "Trump make America great again, get 2024," which it'd be more hilarious if he wasn't leader of the free world and in charge of the nukes, the global economy, and has a ripple effect on pretty much everything. There was, believe it or not, if you dust off the history books, most public schools don't, but there was a time the U.S. government was so small, no one cared who was president, and no one cared about D.C. It didn't affect our daily lives. Now, it's hard to think of one thing you do that isn't affected by the government, from the water tax when you turn on your sink, when you fill up your car with the gasoline, the federal and state gasoline taxes, when you turn on your computer and you pay your internet telecom tax, when you go to the store, you get sales tax, when you get your paycheck, you have the payroll tax, you have the income tax, social security tax. And he's got to the point where the government affects damn near everything in our lives. So there's one of my favorite quotes has become more and more true over time is, you might not be interested in politics, but politics is very much interested in you, which as a small business owner is why I always stay abreast of the most latest political news, so how it might help, hurt, or more, let's be honest, how it might hurt or more likely detrimentally hurt my clients' industries that they're in. Now, this went really viral. It got 3.4 million views and 64,000 likes, which another lost opportunity in terms of the Trump campaign for marketing and swag, which I always find those especially fascinating since I do a lot of marketing for my companies. And how they don't have a t-shirt with Biden with the Trueindernationanderpreshure like on the t-shirt. I mean, that's maybe not $1 million idea, but I think you sell a couple $100,000 of shirts and like, I guess that wouldn't fit on a mug. It would be a very awkward mug. You have to look around it. But again, and there are some people who don't think Biden is saying this, especially the part where he says, repeat quote on, he says he says the instructions out loud as if it's part of the quote, which, again, I don't think a president has done in our lifetime. Now, scrolling down, some of the top comments comes from Paul Zupa saying, I love it. Can't wait for the campaign season to really get going. But probably just swap Biden out in a month. Getting 253 likes, which, yeah, a lot of people are speculating that because, again, he's not very articulate. Again, he had a couple about to say business ideas. He's had some good political ideas in the past. I remember his crime bill was very popular. Ironically, that's the one thing where he's lambasted that and he's very ashamed of it, which, I mean, a lot of my friends who are, they believe he should be on tougher crime. I mean, there's a lot of support on the left and the right for that bill back in the day. And yeah, he's becoming less coherent. Just listen to most of his interviews. Just 4 years ago, he sounded more articulate, which, again, pretty much everyone does have that decrease in your abilities as you get older. There's a couple of outliers like Warren Buffett, who's still fairly articulate and he's in his 90s and he's still sharp as tack, but even he is slowing down a little bit. It happens to us all. Now, Final Cut Michigan says exponentially is not a word. So apparently Biden also says exponentially. Or maybe it's a new word we haven't heard of yet. Again, Webster Dictionary has changed and become PC, quote unquote, changing definitions to suit political needs. So maybe there'll be a new word tomorrow.
Exponentially. 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 Exponentially.
I mean, I probably said worse than that, I'll be honest. I mean, my pronunciation, no, it's not a real word. I mean, there are a couple words that's, in my opinion, that's not good, but that's not that detrimental. I'm not too worried about that particular fumble. That got 250 likes, though. Gasfast84 says, Trump-paralism is out of control. Those extra MAGA extremists under my Uncle Bozy clown world getting 286 likes. Marjorie Taylor Greene press release parody account says Joe Biden is a disgrace to America, period, getting 453 likes. Junita Broderick says this is so funny, love it, getting 353 likes. Going down more and more. Hi, Kelly, I'm Joe, says Trump is hilarious, getting 92 likes. Gerald TM says my all-time favorite Biden sense is Trueindernationanderpreshure, which that is a very viral one. I think most people like that. I know Tim Pool, that's kind of his favorite as well. Which, yeah, I'm surprised Trump hasn't leaned into that term, Bidenese. That's a good marketing term. Be a good move on political chessboard, I think. Going down more and more. Alexis Huxley's Ghost says, I'm disappointed no hairy legs and roaches, quote. No, poor kids are just good. Oh, yeah. No, poor kids are just as good as white kids, quote. So much fine material left out. Getting 106 likes. And yet, Biden said that poor kids are just as good as white kids. He also said poor kids are just as smart as white kids, I think. Like, publicly, he said this. I think the most famous one that if the Republicans said this, they'd be canceled immediately because, mainstream media seems to like critique one side of the political aisle. Again, Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Yeah. Going down more and more. Let's see. McMamus says, basically, Trump posted a video of Biden gibberish that even a person that does hand signals just shakes their head at. Getting 18 likes. Redway Press says, as I introduce the President of the United States, he invents new words in the English language every time he speaks, getting 89 likes. Which, I mean, some people, if his staff was really good at marketing, they'd be like, well, he's some might say Shakespearean. Shakespeare made up many of the words he uses. But no one in the White House is that brilliant, I don't think. The support staff, no. Let's see, there's any contrarian statements here. Someone did a Photoshop of him being Morpheus from The Matrix. It says, what if I told you I forgot what I told you? Getting 81 likes. Common Sense Custodian says, Trump is the most academic troll. I love it. This is awesome. Let's see, t-shirt advertisements. Let's see. Jeff Geraldton says, and actually there's probably enough material for a full-length movie. Getting 44 likes. And again, there are still a lot of people defending him, saying he's just as sharp and articulate as he was in the past. I'm not sure those people maybe are visually impaired and hearing impaired, but again, even my friends, and again, I have people on the left, people on the right in my life. Echo chambers get a little boring, so I try to spice it up and have a good rounding bout of who I surround myself with. A lot of my friends who are left of the political aisle, they're quite frank saying, oh yeah, they're voting for the Democratic Party, they're not voting for Biden. Because they know he's gone downhill. He's just no longer, well, I don't know if he ever was the sharpest knife in the drawer, so to say, but yeah, they're just voting because they know the people surrounding him are controlling him. They know that's what's really going on in the government. But a lot of people already know Biden has these speaking faux pas, and he did have, again, for years people said he has a stutter, which, again, I can't critique him much because, truth be told, if you're tuning in for the first time, spoiler alert, I stutter a lot. I've had, even after taking Toastmasters classes, which did help, but the bar was quite low. But stuttering is one thing. I mean, but if you just watch the old interviews of him, because again, he's been in government for like 50 years, there's plenty of C-SPAN footage of him. And again, previous speeches, even if I don't agree with his methodology or his philosophy or what he's saying, he did sound quite articulate. You could understand him. And these days, it's getting more and more a struggle. And spoiler alert to the next segment of the show, it's starting to become more and more apparent. But we'll get started in New York minute, or get started right now. Other interesting political news, you have Biden gets launched at the G7 summit, which, yeah, that's not good. Now, this is first brought to us thanks to Colin Rugg over at X Twitter. He says, quote, just in, President Biden appears to be wandering off at the G7 summit and has to be handled back in. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was seen grabbing Biden to bring him back to the group. This wasn't the only awkward encounter between the two. Biden was caught on camera saluting Meloni before shuffling away. Clown show. Which, I guess this video was first brought to us thanks to credited to RNC Research, which, fascinatingly enough, see, even I am speaking up to is fascinatingly enough as I struggle to articulate. Another friendly reminder to click that subscribe button, because the more people that subscribe, the better and more articulate my speaking has become. Granted, you might argue there's a modicum of improvement. Watch the first couple episodes. I think you'll think it's a little bit more than that. But again, I would greatly appreciate it. It looks like the RNC is doing something at least, which is, more than nothing. And it's only about 31 seconds long. And go ahead now, pull that video up right here. And this one Colin's most viral moments. And this thing is all over them internets, as some might say. Which is a joke, because that's not grammatically correct. But nevertheless, Biden, at least he did suit up. Give him some credit. Though I'm not a big fan of blue suits personally, but nevertheless, obviously, I think gray suits are the best. That's why I'm wearing one. But nevertheless, get back to this. Oh, there's no sound? A little disappointing. So we got all the leaders of the, well, I was about to say free world. Let's be honest, totalitarian world. Yeah, let's just say there's very few areas in the world that actually have free speech, freedom to defend yourself, your family. Nevertheless, we'll say political leaders. They're all standing in a group. Got little Mr. Alleged Castro, little bastard Trudeau standing there. And Biden, he turns around. Maybe he's talking to that soldier. Maybe. But, yeah, he turns around, just kind of standing there. Then, yeah, Gal has to come, tell him, come on now, move in this direction. He doesn't look very comfortable. Good marketing. He puts on his glasses so you can't see his eyes, which, again, that's part of his, I was about to say, it's part of his attire, his signature these days, which, again, for marketing, that's good. You want to have consistent, you want to have something that's memorable. And again, the people who love Biden, they very consistently use the glasses. So he did that. Although even at the end, his facial expression still looks like he's lost. Again, he's wearing a suit and tie. He did something right. Just kind of looks lost. And this one got 20.9 million views and 79,000 likes. Again, Colin is one of the most viral persons on X Twitter, or individuals on X Twitter. He usually gets between maybe 790,000 views to 2 million views per post. And this is astronomically better. Red Array Press is one of the first ones chiming in saying, Biden made America a laughingstock. The world leaders are escorting Grandpa around the G7 summit. Got 3.1 thousand likes. Colin said the G7 summit should just become G7 daycare. Gained 2.1 thousand likes. Junita Broderick says, Dear Lord, please help America. We're hanging by a thread. How much longer will they let him embarrass us? That got 9.3 thousand likes. Colin Rugg says, it's an everyday occurrence. This was just last week. It's Biden getting out of one of the armored SUVs and literally just standing there. Oh, wait. And it's only about a minute long, and I don't know if it's really comic relief at this point, because it's sad, because again, I want the leader of our country to do great things. Regardless of their political relations, I want them to improve the quality of living and just improve things in the U.S. Fortunately, that's not happening lately, but let's see here. He's just standing by the SUV, looking like he's going to the bathroom, looking like he's lost. Oh yeah, then he's... Not some annoying music. And he's standing, or he's walking in front of people. Then he continues to walk, and he salutes Someone. Oh yeah, this is the clip that went viral where it looks like he's decking himself before he sits down, which he did before everyone else. Then he just quickly escorted off the stage. Where's the falling compilation video? So those are the ones that usually really go viral. Okay, I guess I did clarify. This is just last week. Yep. Ichi Keenan says, look how they all covered for him, getting 7.7 thousand likes. Colin Rugg says, world leaders becoming babysitters is a wild development, getting 10,000 likes. Brother Eagleman says, quote, he's gone. He will never make it in the election. The Democrats will replace him with someone else, getting 2.4 thousand likes, which, yeah, interesting. There's a couple theories going out there in terms of political. A lot of people are saying maybe they'll let Trump win, but then, win the Senate and House of Representatives, so Trump can't do much. Maybe Biden will be replaced by someone like Gavin Newsom, who, again, politically speaking, I can't help but see Gavin Newsom destroy the state of California with a myriad of his policies. But again, ladies like him because apparently he's handsome. And again, he does get reelected. People in California love Gavin Newsom. They keep voting for him. Going down more and more. PDB says, how isn't this elder abuse? Our country has been taken by a rogue regime. Our kids will be reading about this in history books someday. Getting 5.8 thousand likes, which, well, if they go to public school, probably not. Never forget. History books are written by the winners. Let's see here. Paul Zupa says, wow, it's just sad to watch. Resign already by getting 618 likes, which he'll never resign. Most politicians left and right never willingly give up power. One of the things like Ruth Bader Ginsburg should, if she was prudent, could have retired when Barack Obama was presidency. Then they could have gotten another leftist to get on the Supreme Court and take away our rights. But she was just so hell-bent on keeping power to the last minute. She expired under Trump, and now for the first time in decades, we have more people who believe in the Constitution, also known as constitutionalist, on the Supreme Court. And of course, now that they're losing, they want to cheat and pack it. But nevertheless, Art Candy, who again is a leftist I follow, her name is Art Candy, and yes, the profile emojis that she has is popcorn, which famously salty, not sweet. I would not consider it candy. And then a cup of water with a straw in it, which I'm not sure if it means you're a sociopath or a psychopath to drink water out of a straw. That's just weird. And her name is spelled Art Candy, Candee. So it's also not properly named. A silly name, obviously ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous as being named something like Topping. Oh wait, I partially digress. Now Art Candy, again, she says he was talking to someone. This is so desperate, getting 430 likes. So again, there are many people who think he's still sharp as a tack, and maybe he was just talking to that guy, even though his face. Again, if you watch or if you just interact with humanity, you know the face people make when they look lost and they just look out of place. I mean, now Lizard Lips replied to her saying, "Ha ha, yeah, he was talking to himself. What a clown show." That got 37 likes, so she was not subsequently ratioed. Let's see anyone else. Let's see. Stephen Hunter says there's no point in even considering out the obvious of them because they're just channeling their candidate by lying, exaggerating everything. Obviously, he walked over to talk to other people over there and then pulled back to a group photo. 36 likes, so a couple people agreeing with her actually. Let's see here. Snively Whiplash says, you are so desperate, what an evil person, you and anyone that supports the continuing exploitation of Biden. Let's see, we'll do a couple more back to the main comment section. May says, imagine how much fun Biden is having. Everyone and everything is brand new to him. He could hide his own Easter eggs. And 1.4 thousand likes, which is actually quite sad because Alzheimer's is a real thing. But nevertheless, Salty Goat says, this is what was caught on camera. Can you imagine what else he did right in front of world leaders? Such an embarrassment. Getting 2.4 thousand likes. Let's see. Miss Densoko says, remember the time Jill said democracy is on the ballot? What woman would allow her husband to continue in this condition? Getting 450 likes. Probably an evil sociopath or someone who just wants power above all else. Like, if you see someone struggling, why would you continue to push them in the direction that makes their quality of life worse? Very people, I don't think anyone who actually has ever gone and become president and become healthier. I mean, some have aged more gracefully than others, but I mean, no one continues down that path. And like, now that would be fascinating. I don't think it would ever happen. But imagine if someone got to the White House and they just became like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They just started to lift weights and they got healthy. It's never happened. We have some presidents who have been more physically active, but again, usually you don't become more articulate, more mentally fit, and more physically fit after serving the presidential office. So allegedly, they do have a whole underground gym, which probably has a couple of amounts of dust on it the past couple of years, but nevertheless. Even USA also says the corporate media has been gaslighting the public on Biden's mental state for the past 4 years, getting 584 likes. So, looks like, oh, here's an interesting one. You have Hunter, I was gonna say, you have Mr. Biden with his, I think they call it the what was it? What was the Beavis and Butthead thing? I only saw it once or twice as a kid. Oh yeah, the cornholio thing where he's holding his hands, his arms and hands by his side, very awkward. More awkward than my smile around DeSantis' smile, which is an achievement to say the least. And then it's juxtaposed to the picture of Mr. Burns from The Simpsons having the same body language, and that got 715 likes. So again, maybe we'll see a video come out tomorrow where we'll get audio and Biden will actually be talking very nicely with that gentleman working there, and maybe. I mean, probably not, because again, his facial expression to me kind of says it all. But let me know, do you think more and more people are starting to be concerned about Biden's mental health and his physical and his just body getting older and kind of the miles getting on there? Or do you think the vote's already baked in? There's not going to be a lot of people moving left to right or from the middle to left or the right? Let me know in the comments. As always, I would be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have California's $20 minimum wage. Well, it continues to increase the price, of course, of the end cost of goods sold to the consumer, as well as decrease demand. Now, this is first brought to us thanks to Breck Dumas over at Fox Business, which is actually again, yeah, that's why I can't have too much ground to stand on when I'm critiquing Biden. Well, also the camera. Well, nevertheless, I have many speaking ineptitudes, but if you click the subscribe button, it may very well assist with my speaking ineptitudes, because when I first started the show, believe it or not, spoke a lot more monotone, spoke faster, and believe it or not, I stumbled over my words and mispronounced them even more. Granted, some might argue there's just been a modicum of improvement, but as I gain more and more subscribers, I have become more articulate. So, greatly appreciate it if you take the time to click that button. If you have already subscribed, I appreciate you especially taking the time to tune in again. Now, as I continue to struggle to become articulately speaking, I will attempt that again, saying California fast food minimum wage increase has also caused the increase of the cost of goods sold to consumers, as well as decreasing the demand. There we go. Only took me a million times, but nevertheless, it shows authentic. But you also have, this was brought to us thanks to Breck Dumas over at Fox Business. They say, quote, California's, $20 minimum wage led fast food price hikes, lower consumer traffic, study shows, which I really don't need a study for this, considering, just basic common sense, which, again, these days isn't too common. Oh, there you go. That's a good picture of Gavin. Not at all lizard-like looking in that picture. Because, yeah, this was his idea. He signed off on it. So I was going to help millions of Americans, we'll just pay them more money. What will happen? Oh, yes, 10,000 jobs have been lost. Price of the cost of goods has increased as much as 50% in some fast food establishments. And yeah, people are starting to buy less of the food because, again, it keeps going up in price. Reason 1,958,755,453 of the government making things worse than better, and why the free market is always a better, much more efficient, articulate, and better alternative. Now, going down some of the statistics, going down a little bit quick here. Now they say that McDonald's, for instance, saw roughly the same foot traffic in California last year as the rest of the nations. However, after the minimum wage law went into effect, looks like it went down 9%. The company's restaurants began underperforming by almost 250 basis points. Well, all the stocks also taken beating as well. Study also showed visits to California locations during April-May also underperformed on national average for Burger King, Wendy's, Jack in the Box, In-N-Out Burgers, and Chipotle, which have raised prices by 67% to offset the wage increases. That's definitely got good. You also have Rubio's, which actually I think they closed down. They got out of business or shut down everything. Let's see here, scrolling down. The study also noted that the new law has led several restaurant chains to shutter in California, including Rubio's Coastal Grill, which cited the minimum wage hikes as the reasons it filed for bankruptcy last week. So, again, jobs are being, not only are jobs being lost at major fast food chains, but also local establishments are eliminating them all completely. Ridiculous. So again, I don't know. And again, maybe it's one of those things where a wise man once said, you get what you vote for. And, they voted for these leaders, and these leaders say, it's a good idea. We're going to pass this law. And, I wonder, though, are people in California happy because of this? I mean, thankfully, there's a comment section on this page, so I'll go ahead and look what folks have to say here. One of the first comments comes from RTIM, who says, I guess what California loses in terms of sales tax due to decreased customer purchases will be made up for by the increased income tax on the employees who will be paying, except there will be fewer employees. So California winds up in increased prices, many people losing their jobs, and decreasing tax revenue in a time where they have a record budget deficit. And Houston wants to be president. I got 20 likes or upvotes and 0 downvotes. Which again, a lot of people are suspecting he's going to be one of the main forerunners because, again, people keep voting for Gavin Newsom in California. He's very popular over there. People over there like him. Ladies love him. At least he does do something right. He does wear a suit. He does one thing right. Now, scrolling down more and more, Steve 17 says, but the left, with their infinite wisdom and economics understanding, always said prices won't go higher by rewarding entry-level workers with exorbitant wages well beyond what their entry-level positions are worth. Got 8 upvotes and 1 downvote, which is fascinating to see. I did like a poll on LinkedIn asking people, is $20 too much? And a lot of people on LinkedIn said, oh, yes. Or no, I also asked 2 things. I also asked, do you think this is a good idea? And a lot of people on LinkedIn, again, small poll, I think I got about 85 people to respond to it. But about 38 people did say, yes, it's a good idea to pay people $20 an hour to flip a burger in California. Which, again, I said that wouldn't be a good idea because of everything that happened. 10,000 jobs gone. Prices of food going up 20, 30%. In some, I believe, some menu items, it's as much as 50%. Ridiculous. And yet all the people who never owned a business but think they're, all the theorists on LinkedIn said, oh yeah, it's a good idea, we should do it. Yeah, absolutely not. Slowing down more and more. Awkward Dog says, and lower customer traffic means less revenue, which means less staff is needed, thus reduction in hiring. Getting 4 upvotes, 0 downvotes. See if there's any other popular ones here. Smarter Than Dems, appropriate profile name, probably right-leaning, but nevertheless, he says, if lefties understood economics, they wouldn't be lefties. Getting 23 upvotes and 0 downvotes. See. Redbird Sky responded saying, or as one of the doctors of economics noted, if Democrats understood economics, they wouldn't be Democrats. Getting 3 upvotes, 0 downvotes. Traveler says this outcome was as predictable as determining the sunrise and sunset. Getting 13 upvotes and 1 downvote. Funny enough, one person said, Alex says, this is done to curb obesity. Food will be too expensive to buy and people will eat less. Employers will have to lay people off, so people will eat less. People who go out and eat as much as restaurant owners will not make as much money and eat less. Like EVs, make gas so expensive, so you have no choice but to buy an EV if you want to go anywhere. I got 3 upvotes and 0 downvotes. So it'll be interesting to see. There's rumors that maybe they'll walk it back. I don't think that'll happen. Maybe. But yeah, another great example of the government getting involved in the private sector and making things much, much worse for literally everyone. Which is why most of my life I've been mostly libertarian, because I have yet to see the government doing something and making life better for everyone. But guess we're not too surprised. Let me know in the comments. Do you think more states will follow down this track of having minimum wage laws of $20 an hour for a fast food worker? Let me know, because as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the business blunder of the day, you have CDC warning a company that their product might make people sick. And apparently it is mushrooms that are in gummies and chocolates, which is disgusting to say the least. Now, this is brought to us thanks to NBC News, in which they say, quote, CDC warns of severe illnesses linked to mushroom chocolates and gummies. Products containing mushroom extracts are becoming more available and may contain undisclosed ingredients or illicit substances, according to the agency. Little pop-ups left and right, get rid of those. Now they say the CDC is warning the public to avoid diamond Shruums chocolates, which, of course, the Shruums is spelled ridiculously S-H-R-U-U-M-Z. Is that right? And who the hell wants mushrooms in their chocolate? Nevertheless, they say that cones and gummies followed an outbreak of severe illnesses that has led to 10 hospitalizations. Now, the CDC said that the dozen people in 8 states have gotten sick after eating these brands and microdosing mushroom edibles. All but 2 needed to be hospitalized. Symptoms include seizures, sedation, muscle stiffness, abdominal pain, abnormal heart rate, and high or low blood pressure. No one died, but several patients needed to be put on ventilators and admitted to an intensive care unit. Which, again, the fact that microdosing is becoming more and more things is concerning to say the least. Yeah, I'm mostly libertarian, do whatever the hell you want, but I don't see how that makes society better, and I don't see how it makes anyone more articulate, stronger, faster, wiser, or anything. I mean, I know I'm definitely a minority. I always make sure I exercise and read a book every day, usually business or philosophically oriented. maybe I should read a speaking book so I can learn how to speak better by partially pun or joke. But I mean, what is the upside of this? I mean, people are going to say something about, oh yeah, relieve stress, so you'll feel better. Eat a carrot to go to the gym. Or if you're lazy, just throw it in a blender like I do and just blend a couple of vegetable smoothies a day. Now, nevertheless, they continue to say that the actual scale of the outbreak may be even larger, according to Kate Brown, a clinical managing director at America's Poison Center. Nationwide, poison centers had received 22 reports of illnesses potentially linked to diamond Shruums products and are seeing it new cases every day. Which, yeah, not too surprised. Now, they're saying that apparently these dietary supplements do not require approval from the FDA being sold to consumers. And apparently they say that the market for mushroom-based products such as coffee or chocolate has swelled in recent years, as is demand for edibles with psychoactive properties through psychedelic mushrooms are largely illegal in the US. But again, what is the upside? And again, I'm not sure if this is inherent to the actual product design or just the nature of what the shrooms are, or if this is a specific instance due to this manufacturer or this company to Diamond Shrooms. And it'll be interesting to see if there's any lawsuits, what kind of warning label they have on the product. But again, for a product that was allegedly supposed to make your life easier, and again, I know this isn't thousands or hundreds of millions of cases. Right now, it's 12. It is still sad that people are getting sick, but thankfully they haven't, passed away or they haven't died. But yeah, definitely not good news for the company named Diamond Shrooms. And fascinatingly enough, they're not issuing a recall or telling people not to use it. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually do that in the future. But nevertheless, having this bad news of your product making so many people sick and more scrutiny on it, Diamond Shrooms, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.